So, I participated in the game jam run by Jacksepticeye and Ducky Dev, where you had to make and submit a game in just 5 days. Here's how I went. Of course, with any game jam, you are always waiting patiently for the theme. And this one was a good one. Death is an opportunity.
Interpret it how you will.
So, naturally, we needed to get the ball rolling and start to ideate. At first, we thought maybe a horror game would be fun to work on, but soon threw this idea out the window. None of our ideas really sticking with us. We had some other cool ideas though, such as a game where you fight for your life and right to become the next Queen Ant when your reigning monarch dies. But ultimately, we landed on something a little bit more cozy. A game where you run a market stall and sell fish. But not just any fish, fish from the spirit realm. But how does this link in with the theme, death is an opportunity? Hear me out. After running a failing stall, the player, the market owner, perishes. But in the afterlife, finds an opportunity when he saves a sacred fish, who gives him access between reality and the spirit realm, where he can catch rare ancient fish that not only taste amazing, but he can sell at a very high price. We really liked this idea as it not only gave us something a bit more challenging to work on, but also really motivated us with its inspirations coming from our recent trip to Japan. So, after landing on this idea, we spent some time on the design. My husband Ollie, always being my handy ideas guy, helping me flesh out the planned features and mechanics. And from there, I was able to come up with the core gameplay loop for this game. Catch fish, sell them at the market, and upgrade to catch better fish and make more money. So with this in mind, I knew that for the game jam we would need at least 2 scenes. An area in the spirit realm where players could catch fish, perhaps adding on cool mini-game to this experience like Fairy's Memory Game from Pokemon Stadium. And an area in reality where they could then sell these fish, bartering their price like in Schedule 1. So with the base design goals laid out and our ideaed, it was time to jump into the engine. And using assets I already had in my Unity library, I set up the scene. Going for a Studio Ghibli inspired low poly aesthetic, starting with the spirit realm and the fishing minigame. For day 1, I just wanted to implement a solid base. So I looked to Minecraft for some inspiration, but obviously I needed a player first. So that was the first thing that I created, who was just a cylinder to start, and got some simple character movement in to get them walking along the dock of this little pond. We found these really cute fish and character assets online by an artist called Coturnius, so I'll link his website down below. And using the fishing rod that came with the fish pack, we had the player equipping his trusty rod. The next problem though was the actual line of the fishing rod itself. We thought that it would be really cute if the bobber on the edge of the fishing rod dangled and bobbed around. And I definitely spent way too long trying to achieve this. What I managed to implement though was pretty good. Syncing the movement of the rod to that of the player's movement, and using this free rope asset from Unity's marketplace to make it dangle from a point. But I had had enough of Unity's joint and physics system. So I got to more important things. So it was time to get to actually casting the rod so we could, catch some actual fish. But remember that nice dangling bobber physics we got working? Well, the easiest way to implement the fishing for the moment was to disable all of that, so that the bobber would be able to stop when it hit the water. I think I know a way to implement it so I could retain the bobber physics, but for now, I need to make some substantial progress to keep on track. So I left that on the back burner to tackle another day. It was then pretty simple to get a simple fishing loop going, where after a randomized amount of time, a fish would bite and the player could haul it in, which I used these stylized bubble particles to indicate this to the player. In my current condition though of being 36 weeks pregnant, I had to leave day 1 here, setting up the data so that I could continue working on the fishing minigame on a later day. So with fishing in a playable state, I got to creating the market scene. Again, using the asset pack that I already had purchased in my Unity library to set it all up, updating the colour palette to make the area feel a bit more ethereal and have the player's market stall stand out from the rest, and then quickly setting up a camera point for the market as well, so that when the player entered its trigger, they could enter the market screen and add their fishy wares to their stall. The way I'd set up the player prefab as well made it easy to drag and drop them in and get them walking around the market, allowing me to rescale the world to not make it seem like I was a giant. Now, it was to connect both the market scenes and the fishing scene together so that I could get to implementing the selling of the fish. Not entirely sure how we wanted these transitions to be like yet, I set up an object, using this Torii gate that was in an example scene to be the bridge between the two worlds. And who better to guide them across than the spirit fish that the player saved? We'll build more upon this later though, but for now, I had both of the scenes connected. And so I spent the rest of this day creating a data manager, a way to store all of the save data that the game would need to retain and remember, so that the game was saving the fish that they were catching, ready for them to sell at the market. With these scenes connected and data being retained, I could actually make some good headway on the market stall, getting the fishing and selling elements of the game's core loop in place. I thought it would be cool for the player to actually be able to select what sort of fish they wanted in their market stall from the world itself. So I went ahead and added slots to the market stall with placements for the fish to be added to. Of course though, I would need an actual way for the player to be able to add these to the stall. So it was time to finally implement and touch some UI. Just using Unity's UI for now, I set up a simple screen where buttons would be instantiated for the fish in the player's inventory for them then to select and add to their stall. The only fish that I'd set up data for at the moment was this cute little zebrafish. So, using him as a test, I was super happy with how it was looking, with a plan to jazz up the UI later. And I even had the player being able to exit their market stall and see the fish they had placed still there. And this being saved when travelling between worlds. The market was feeling a bit lifeless though, and I'd made some better progress than I thought I actually would have done at this stage. So instead of getting back to the fishing minigame, I had a bit of fun with Unity's AI systems, and set up some NPCs to walk from one end of the market to the other. This took a bit of trial and error though, and there was a moment I was scared that I had created an unstoppable Imperial army. Going into day 4, let's do a quick recap. We now had the player able to catch fish with very simple mechanics. The player able to then travel between worlds to place those fish in their market stall with some very simple UI, and we had walkers walking. So for day 4, it was time to reel in those customers and implement the selling of those fish. Once again wrangling with Unity's AI system, I set up a new destination out the front of the stall for the NPCs to walk to. With the NPCs now able to visit the market, I could implement the selling. We didn't just want them to get away with crazy good deals though, so we designed a bartering system, where the player can set a price for their fishy wares. The only catch with this being that there is a percentage success rate applied to the price that the player tries to sell the fish for, leading to a successful sale or a failed one. And with some very lackluster UI, but some solid maths behind the code, we had the money rolling in. It had already been half the day though, and being on day 4, we only had one more day after this. Trying not to panic too much, we needed to spend some time on the narrative, tying everything back to the theme, death is an opportunity. So using the market and fishing scene assets, I pulled these into a single scene to set up the cutscene when the player first opens the game. Now, funnily enough, with all the games that I've worked on, I've actually never had to implement a cutscene before. So I went ahead and just mashed together a cutscene manager that reminded me of some of the jankiest tutorial code I've had to write back in the day. While I was doing this, Ollie also really kindly made this really nice and minimalistic UI for me in Figma. So I added that to a dialog pop-up to display the cutscene text. And after linking all the scenes together, we built and did a test run. We were really surprised that we actually had the game feeling like, well, a game. But naturally, as with any part of developing a game, this first run also led to a long list of things we needed to get done before the deadline the subsequent day, so that we could have something that we were genuinely proud to submit. This day was a little frantic, to say the least, so I didn't end up getting as much footage of today's process as I would have liked. But I essentially spent the day fixing bugs, adding quality of life features, and polish, which gave us this. There's still so much more we'd love to add to this game, like actually implementing the fishing minigame to make the experience more engaging, upgrades to catch better quality of fish to complete the core gameplay loop, making the market a bigger, living, breathing area with perhaps a home base in the scene so that players can decorate, and other fun things, such as maybe having some spirit helpers. All in all, our vision for this game was very lofty, but I'm really proud of the progress that we did manage to make during this game jam, especially whilst being in the final weeks of my pregnancy. And I really had so much fun working on this and taking up this challenge. The 5 days I spent making Spirits of Tsukiji being a welcome distraction to the overwhelming chaos of preparing for a newborn. So I just thought I'd take a moment to say thank you so much to Jacksepticeye and Ducky Dev for actually running this jam and coming up with an awesome theme. The quality and creativity of the games I've been able to play and see so far have been absolutely incredible. And to everybody who has played our game, Spirit of Tsukiji, and of course to you guys watching these fun little devlogs, your support really means the world. And if you want to check out the game, I'll leave a link to its itch.io page in the description below. I'm definitely thinking I'd like to carry on working on this project, but I know I already have so many other ideas and projects that I've been enjoying working on that I've shared here on this channel. So if you've been following along on my journey or want to check out my other videos, feel free to leave a comment down below of which project you'd like to see me make a video on next. But for the next couple of weeks at least, I might need to focus on the project that's baking in my tummy for the time being. Thanks for watching.